Hello. Ooh, we have a little bit of an echo there. I think that'll even out pretty soon. Hello, everybody. Welcome into the webinar room today for our live event. We're just going to wait just a couple of minutes to get started so everybody can come in that's going to be joining us today. Roger's already excited to be joining us. So go ahead and hop in that chat over on that side. Say hello. We'll say hello back. Let us know where you're logging in from. I know that I hold webinars regularly every week here, and I get people from all around the world, and it is definitely really exciting. And this is definitely an exciting event for us because I have three amazing people with me in this webinar room. So oh my gosh, let's see. California, Michigan, Orlando, Seattle. Yay, Seattle. Woohoo. Marco from Mexico. So now we have Switzerland, Daniela. Hi. And we have Arizona, Susie, Alaska. Ooh, Bulgaria. Somebody's coming in from Bulgaria, South Africa. So we are definitely all over the world. It is a global event this morning or afternoon or evening, whatever time you are logging in to the webinar room from. Oh man, welcome everybody. Hi, Jim. Thank you so much for your question. We're definitely going to talk about that soon. All right, Todd from Louisiana. Hello. Haley from Long Island. Oh, Roger's excited. Excellent. And Brian from Littleton, Colorado. Oh, wow. Everybody's logging in. Everybody's logging in. Awesome. David, hi. Paula, hello from Texas. How you guys doing down there? Natalia. Oh, Helene, go Viome. Nice. Tony in Sarasota. Oh, Lisa in Los Angeles. Nice name, Lisa. All right. All right. People are just piling in there. I think we're just going to give it a few more seconds, and I think that we can get going. We have a lot of people in the room today, and we have a lot of stuff to talk about today. I'm very, very excited about. All right. I definitely think that we can get started. Keep on saying hello in there as you're coming in. But I am Lisa Shomo. I'm head of community here at Viome. Welcome to our live event on the Youth Formula. September is Healthy Aging Month, and so we are capturing the moment to have this dynamic discussion. And lucky for us, I have three amazing individuals here with me who have knowledgeable, cutting-edge perspectives on this subject, and they are here. And I have, of course, Naveen Jain, Viome founder and CEO, entrepreneur, and author. Hello, Naveen.
Well, thank you, Lisa.
Next, I have Dr. Guru Banavar, founding CTO and head of Discovery AI here. Hello, Guru.
Hi, everybody.
And I also have Dr. Grant Antoine, Precision Nutrition Clinical Lead here at Viome. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, so we're just going to launch in. I have questions to ask all three of you. And so the first thing that I want to start with you, Naveen, as we are highlighting a very special event this week, and that is the worldwide release of your brand new book called The Youth Formula. It's currently #1 bestseller in the aging, lifespan, and healthy living categories on Amazon.com. It's bestseller on Barnes & Noble, and it was recently featured in Times Square. Super exciting. So Naveen, pardon me, congratulations on your new book.
Well, first of all, I want to welcome everyone on this webinar. I think this is an amazing thing that we have finally starting to understand what is why does our human body age? And, do we really have to age? And I really think that, it's really, we need to redefine what aging is. Many of us associate aging with simply by how many times the earth has gone around the sun, right? How many years since we were born, how many times the earth has gone around the sun. And that's a fundamental problem. You can't change that. Right? So that's your chronological age. But what we do control is how well we take care of our body. How do we really feel? It doesn't matter what age we are at. So there are some people, they are 40 and they feel like as if they could be 70. And there are people who are 70 years old, they could be 40. So now, I can tell you that, in terms of biological age, Dr. Banavar and Dr. Antoine can tell you a little bit more about how we calculate that. But to me, aging comes from very simple thing. A chronic inflammation causes chronic diseases. Chronic diseases are people associated with aging, right? So the question really is, what can we do? And that's something we're going to be talking about a little bit more about. How do we reduce the biological age? Just to tell you something very out of the way, I just turned 65 on September 6th. So 20 days ago, I turned 65. Now, obviously, my biological age is nowhere near that. Obviously, we at Viome, we measure the biological age. And I always wondered if Dr. Banavar and Dr. Antoine are just trying to please me by showing me how young I am. So I actually went and did a third-party biological age test just to make sure that I was being accurate. And it turns out that even on a third-party biological age test, I am 33. Think about it.
Wow.
Even though I'm 65 chronologically, my biological age is 33. And what that really means is there is a chance that by the time I turn 70, my biological age could be down to my 20s. The benefit of that is really simple. Obviously, I feel good. I have lots of energy, and God knows I don't need more energy. I always, when I climb up the stairs, I climb 2 stairs at a time. I never do 1 stair at a time. But the best benefit is my wife thinks she married a young man, so she doesn't have to look out for a young man anymore. So you get to be younger, you get to have fun, you get to have more energy. And that is something you and I all can control in terms of how we age. And I'm going to give you a little bit more about that, about how can we control about our aging. So Lisa, back to you.
Yes, absolutely. So that brings me to my question. What does it mean to outsmart your genes?
Yeah, and this is something that's really interesting to me is that we have somehow taken the accountability from our own hand, and we love to blame our ancestors. I just have bad genes. I'm sorry. You don't have bad genes. You just have a bad lifestyle. So let's just be, it is. So in some sense, outsmarting you, your genes are not your destiny. And let me explain what I mean by that is less than 10%. Less than 10% of the impact that happens in your aging or your chronic diseases comes from your genetics. 90% of everything comes from your lifestyle. And I'm going to explain to you what that lifestyle means. But this is the key, that your genes are not your destiny. And let me tell you why I say that. Your DNA, you're born with, right? Let's assume now you are into your 40s. You gain 100 pounds, your DNA still hasn't changed. Now you develop a high blood pressure, you develop a heart disease, you develop depression, you develop anxiety, and you do your DNA test again. Your DNA still hasn't changed. In fact, then you die. And even if you were to look at your DNA 100 years after you die, you exhume the body, you check out, and you look at the DNA again. It's the same DNA. DNA can't even tell you you're dead or alive, let alone are you healthier or sicker. So actually, the best way to outsmart your genes is to not worry about what bad genes you have, is to simply focus on not expressing those bad genes. Think of your genes as bad thoughts. You can have all the bad thoughts in your mind, just don't express them. That's where the bad things happen, when you start expressing the bad thoughts. So yes, you can have good thoughts like good genes. You can have bad genes just like bad thoughts. Your job is not to express those bad thoughts, and then everything will be fine. And that's literally I'm going to tell you about how do we go about changing the expression of these things, your genes, so that you can outsmart your genes and not let your genes dictate how you age and how you get chronic diseases.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. So outsmarting your genes, that is definitely the way to go. And it sounds like we can absolutely accomplish that. No problem at all. You just got to make those best lifestyle choices for yourself. So that leads me to my next question, which is, what can someone do today to start reversing this aging process? I'm number 1 on that list. What?
But I'm glad you asked. There are, in fact, 5 things you could do. Just like the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, there are something at the bottom of the pyramid. Until you get that right, nothing matters. And the bottom of the things is nutrition. Yeah. Nutrition is the key to your healthy aging. It's like a Ferrari. You can have a racehorse, you can have a Ferrari until you feed it the right thing. Unless you put the right fuel in your body, nothing else matters. How do you know what is the right food? And that is really something that has been the biggest problem with the humanity. We all have heard tea is good for you, tea is bad for you. Coffee is good for you, coffee is bad for you. Ghee is good for you, ghee is bad for you, right? Coconut is good for you, coconut is bad for you. It is literally, the thing is, there is no such thing as universal healthy food.
Right.
A food that's good for you today may not be good for you 6 months from now. A food that's good for your neighbor or some doctor that tells you what to do because it worked for them doesn't mean it's going to work for you.
Right.
Always remember, one man's food is another man's poison. And that is really why I started Viome 8 years ago. For one simple belief, what if we can understand what changes in the human body that causes us to develop these chronic diseases? And we realize that we can actually control them. So as many of you probably are a Viome customer, so I'm probably preaching to the choir, but people who are not Viome customers here, basically what we are doing is analyzing all of your gene expression. So when we're looking at your stool, we are analyzing not just the microbial gene expression, but we are also looking at the human gene expression that is coming from the shedding of your epithelial cells, that's your gut lining. When we analyze your saliva, we are again not only analyzing your oral microbial activities, we are also analyzing all the human gene expression that are coming from your saliva in your, from your gum lining. Same thing, when we analyze your finger prick blood, we are not only analyzing every cytokine, which are the inflammatory markers, we analyze all of your mitochondria and then all other human gene expression. And then we look at interactively how all of them are communicating with each other. And based on that, now we can tell you, for example, don't eat avocado right now because your uric acid production is too high. Everyone thinks avocado is a superfood, but it may be a superfood for someone else.
Right.
And it turns out in our data set, 30% of the people are actually harmed by avocado because they have high uric acid production. Same thing, broccoli. Everyone thinks that it is, broccoli is healthy for everyone. Well, it turns out almost 37% of the people are harmed by broccoli because broccoli contains high sulfate that your microbes converts into sulfide, and sulfide causes a lot of inflammation. Spinach. Popeye told us spinach is healthy for everyone. You want to build the muscles, you take spinach. Well, guess what? Popeye was not a scientist. It turns out almost 40% of the people are harmed by spinach because these people, when they say spinach or almonds, are not able to metabolize oxalates. And if you can't metabolize oxalates, you end up getting a kidney stone. And we are not simply talking about the plant food. It is quite likely that red meat is actually good for you because red meat has a lot of nutrition. And in fact, in some people, where the choline in the red meat is not metabolized into something called trimethylamine TMA. And the TMA, if you are producing low TMA and the TMA gets absorbed in the blood and your liver, using the enzyme called FMO3, converts the TMA into TMAO, trimethylamine oxide. That is what causes the heart disease. That's what causes the plaque. And by the way, that expression can be changed by your oral microbiome when it produces gingivitis. So your oral microbial activity of P. gingivalis can change the expression, increases the expression of FMO3 that causes the TMA to convert into TMAO. Incidentally, if you have high TMAO, you should be taking the vitamin B because vitamin B, in fact, increases the production of that same FMO3 enzyme. And that is the key, is to really understand, personalize precisely what foods to eat, what foods not to eat, and we tell you why. And then we tell you exactly what nutrients your body is lacking. Every vitamin, minerals, herbs, digestive enzyme, food extracts, in what quantity you need that. And all of you Viome subscribers, you probably already know that. This is mine. In case you're wondering, notice that it says manufactured on, doesn't say expires on. Notice it was made for me just 2 weeks ago. I received that just now. Right? So I take these every day, and these are my new biotics. I don't know, hopefully you're getting the same. VRX Biotics Gut Formula. So this is what I take every day in the morning. These are my oral lozenges. Notice that Naveen Jain. That's my oral lozenges. And I hopefully, if not, you are all hopefully taking these I love these morning, evening personalized toothpaste. I'm telling you, I was the guy until about a year ago that has nothing but oral health. I had cavities, I had gum inflammation, and my dentist loved me because I was out there trying to get cavities, get my periodontitis fixed, right? They were in love with me. I went back now and they told me, what have you been doing? Because I've never seen your teeth and gum being this healthy. And I said, that is, that's personalized toothpaste. And they looked at me, it's like, are you kidding me? What's
Check up.
that? Guru, so did you have the same experience, Guru?
Yeah.
Uh, Guru, you were saying something? You're mute.
Yeah, I had exactly the same experience. So, a year ago, I was going through the deep cleaning and everything else. And
Oh
this
boy.
February, I go back to my dentist after having taken all the Viome, the lozenges and the toothpaste. And they're asking me like, what did you do? Keep doing whatever you're doing. So I'm super happy now.
Good. But so my point was that is the number one, the nutrition. The second thing really is stress reduction.
Yeah.
Now, remember, the stress is good for you. If there was no stress, your ancestors wouldn't have survived. That when we were living in the savannas of Africa, the stress was when you were being chased by a tiger. And at that point, your body goes into fight or flight response. And when your body is into the sympathetic mode or fight or flight response, what happens? Your body says, look, don't worry about digesting your food because you're about to be a lunch for someone else. So it shuts down your digestive system. It actually shuts down your immune system because it says you don't need to worry about that right now. There are only two things going to happen. Either you're going to get eaten by a tiger, your stress is going to go away, or you're going to survive and the stress is going to go away. Like what happens in our modern society is, we have this constant chronic stress. Sometimes it is your boss that's stressing you out. When you go home, sometimes it's your spouse that's stressing you out, right? And the environment that's stressing you out. So you need to really, really find the root cause of your stress and get rid of the thing. Sometimes it means quitting a job. Sometimes it means quitting whatever is causing stress. But the point is, we as humans have learned that before we eat, since our body is always into the sympathetic mode, we say, you know what, let's do gratitude, let's do prayers. And what does that do? When we do gratitude and prayers, our body moves from sympathetic mode to parasympathetic mode. That means from fight or flight response into relaxed response. Your digestive system starts working again. So we created this religious thing. We created the rituals is because so we can digest our food. And you also notice people who are stressed, they get sick very often because their immune system becomes really weak. So that's the number two. Once you have done the nutrition, you have done the stress reduction. Number three is exercise. And I'm not talking about being a gym rat. You don't want to be spending 3, 4, 5 hours in the gym. All you need is 45 minutes of fast walk, get your heart rate up a bit. If you can do a little bit uphill, awesome, right? You need is just enough exercise that increases your heart rate. And if you can do 2 days a week, ideally 3 days a week, just using your own body weight, do some push-ups, do some pull-ups, and you want to do some squats, you want to do some lunges, that helps your muscle because as you really need your muscles as you are aging because that's how you get the stability. So that's your number three thing. The number four, the most important thing that point is sleep. Like many things in life, it is not the quantity, it is the quality of sleep that matters. So I measure that so religiously. I need to know how much of REM sleep you're getting. You need to know how much of the deep sleep you're getting. If you can get 1.5 to 2 hours of REM sleep and 1.5 hours of deep sleep, you are doing really well. Some people can do that in 4 hours. Some people need 5, some need 6, some need 7, some need 8. It is really about getting a good quality sleep. I measure my sleep multiple ways. Aura ring, I have an 8 sleep mattress. Not only it measures my heart rate, it measures my movement. It changes the temperature as I'm going into REM sleep or deep sleep. I highly recommend 8 sleep mattress or mattress pad is really good. I have a Withings pad underneath my that to measure my sleep again. I have Apple Watch. I measure my sleep. I measure everything because I really need a good night's sleep. And by the way, I normally go to sleep by 9 o'clock and I get up at 4 and I
Mhm.
get they most of the times I get at least hour and a half to 2 hours of REM sleep, and I get at least hour and 15 minutes to hour and 45 minutes of deep sleep. Right.
Right.
Once you have done nutrition, once you have done stress reduction, you have done exercise, you have done good sleep. Number 5 is purpose and community. People who live a life of purpose tend to live 10 to 15 years longer than the people with no purpose. So when you wake up in the morning and you're not jumping out of the bed, you should quit what you're doing because once you find your purpose, you won't be lying in the bed. So find something that you're willing to die for and then live for it. Find something that you're so obsessed about solving that you cannot sleep. Passion is for hobbies. Obsession is what drives the humanity forward. Once you find your true obsession, your North Star, something is not obsession for a person, it's not obsession for things, obsession to solve the problem. Once you find that obsession that drives you, you will find that you will not only live longer, you will be driven with purpose. And when you have a purpose, nothing ever gets in your way. So I would say, please find something that you'll be so proud of that you're willing to actually spend every minute of your life pursuing that purpose. And if you can do that, all of you, just like me, can reduce your biological age. And I really wish every one of you to live healthy as long as you live, because no one wants to live to be 200 years and spend the last 100 years in the ICU. So it's all about increasing the health span, living young, living healthy. So there you have it, Lisa.
Thank you, Naveen. Thank you so much. So everybody wants a checklist, right? For healthy aging. That's it. That's it. Thank you so much, Naveen. I'm going to focus on Guru next, over here, not over there. And I'd like to discuss the Viome technology and science. And so my first question for you is, what is Viome's approach with the BioAge score? And why is it important on understanding the aging process?
Thank you, Lisa. So you heard the vision, the big picture from Naveen about what aging means and what you can do about it. I want to go a little bit into the how part of it. So first of all, Viome's approach, I think the best way to describe it is holistic approach. It's not just one little piece of your body, like for example, your heart or your brain or your liver or anything else, but it's a holistic picture. And in order to do the holistic health, aging, and all of the other things we do in Viome, we have developed some critical new technologies. The first new technology we have is RNA technology. It's called metatranscriptomics. This is a way for us to understand the dynamics of your biology. As Naveen said, it's not about the DNA, it's not about the genetics, it's about the RNA, which tells you how your lifestyle and your environment impacts your biology. And that is the amount of genes that you express, the kinds of genes that you express.
Mhm.
Once you get that, you essentially end up getting a ton of data about all of the things going on in your body. And when you have so much data, the only way that you can really understand that data is through another technology, that is artificial intelligence.
Mhm.
There's no way that a human brain will be able to analyze all of the data that we get from the dynamic biology and figure out what's going on in a given individual. So we have two technologies, the RNA technology and the AI technology.
Right.
Using those two technologies, we understand your body from top to bottom. So, for example, we understand what's going on in your gut through your stool sample. We understand what's going on in your mouth through your saliva sample. We understand what's going on literally everywhere in your body through your blood sample, right? But when you put those three things together, you connect all the dots and you can almost create a virtual biological model of every one of you inside our computer and analyze what is going on in your biology, basically. So we look at all of the biological patterns. For example, you have a pattern of inflammation. You may have a pattern of short chain fatty acids, which is anti-inflammatory. So we can see all of these different patterns, and we have analyzed these patterns for almost 1 million samples now from people from more than 100 countries around the world. So the amount of data we have is so large that we are able to understand all of the different biological pathways in very great detail. Now that we have all of the data, we've created through machine learning patterns. We know what are the patterns associated with a 25-year-old. What are the patterns associated with a 32-year-old? What is the pattern associated with a 48-year-old? For every age in the human population we have, which is very large, it goes from 18 years all the way to pretty much the end of life, right? We have a lot of people who are even in their 90s. So for every age, we have an understanding of the molecular biology of that age. So if you come in, if you as a new person and say, what is my biological age? You first give us your samples. And once you give us your samples, we analyze your samples and we say, what are your molecular patterns closest to? So let's say you're a 42-year-old person who comes to Viome and gives us your biological samples, and your biological patterns are similar to a 36-year-old, then we tell you that your biological age is 36. But if it is similar to a 46-year-old pattern that our machine learning and AI has learned, then we tell you that your pattern and your biological age is more like 46. So that's how we determine what your biological age is from a holistic, also known as systems biology perspective, top to bottom, and also everywhere in your body.
Absolutely. Just with health in general, I mean, I feel like the holistic approach of looking at all the systems together is the best way to go. You shouldn't focus on one. And I love this AI BioAge score. So why is it that technology and AI are our anti-aging allies that can help you feel and look your healthiest longer? Like, why is that?
Yeah, I mean, the key is personalization, right? So if you understand, if you want to live your healthiest, and if you want to look and feel your best, then you need to first understand what's going on in your body. And in order to understand what's going on in your body, you need some advanced technologies. I mean, 10 years ago or 20 years ago, you were not able to understand exactly what's going on in your body because these technologies did not exist. Now that we have the technologies, we can tell you precisely what is going on, whether it is the inflammation, which is the root of many chronic diseases, or it is your digestion or your immune system or your neurological system, what is affecting your mental health, your mood. All of those things are now understandable because we have the RNA technology and the AI technology. So I want to give you just a quick example. If you want to reduce inflammation, right? There are a number of biological processes that are going on in your gut, which are anti-inflammatory. Like, one of the key things is short chain fatty acids, like butyrate and propionate and so on. Now, we can measure very precisely and deeply how much of these short chain fatty acids and anti-inflammatory processes are active in your gut. And once we do that, we can, if your anti-inflammatory activities are very low, we can give you the right kinds of nutritional advice, or we can give you specific ingredients in those supplements and nutraceuticals that Naveen was talking about, so that you can increase the anti-inflammatory activity in your gut. That's how we can, from an understanding of your biology, we can turn that into something you can do every day, so you can improve your health and therefore lengthen your healthy lifespan.
It's awesome. AI, just on the bottom line, is such a helpful technology. And I'm so glad that we have it and that we're using it. So you've talked a little bit about inflammation. I mean, that could be one of the things, but what really lies at the root of the aging process?
Yeah, there's so many things going on in your body, right? So over the last many years, actually decades, scientists have focused on one or the other of these many processes going on in your biology. And I'll just give you a few examples, just so you know that we consider all of these things in our scientific and technological process here. So there is DNA methylation, which is all of the chemical changes that influence gene expression. There are telomeres, which are protective caps that are at the end of your chromosomes that can shorten with each cell division. There's all sorts of specific proteins in the blood that change with age. There are also various kinds of metabolic pathways, for example, for energy production, for cellular functions, etc. There's also various kinds of senescence, which is a process by which cells die, but maybe are not clear, and they may become part of an inflammatory process or an immune process. So all of these are examples of processes going on underneath this thing that we call aging, right? But if you ask me, how can we understand your overall biological age? It's not one of these processes or mechanisms that we pick. We literally look at every possible thing. So this technology I talked about, metatranscriptomics, basically tells us all of the genes that are expressed in your body, whether it is from your human cells or from your microbial cells, and how are those two interacting with each other, right? So we don't focus on one or the other mechanism like pretty much everybody else in the market does. They just look at one thing, but we look at every possible thing that's going on in your oral, in your gut, in your blood, and both on the microbiome side and the side. So it's that type of holistic analysis that we bring to the science of aging. And that's the reason we are able to give you that holistic perspective.
Excellent, excellent. So Guru, what are you most excited about for the future of Viome?
Look, I really get completely excited on this idea that we can prevent chronic disease. Okay, chronic disease is such a big problem in the 21st century, right? 70% of the deaths in the world nowadays are because of chronic diseases, right? I mean, you may not know this, right? So if you think about what can we do to reduce this and help people live a longer, healthier life, that is sort of the holy grail for the health sciences. So that is the thing that's most exciting to me. And it's not just about waiting until you get sick and get to the hospital and then you get acute care, which is what the current healthcare system does. We want to do it well before. We want to detect as early as possible, and we want to prevent the acute condition so that you never have to go to the hospital, which means you get it, in the home, and you can be anywhere in the world and you can still get this kind of a service. So the thing that's most exciting to me is to get the Viome type of service to every individual on the planet, wherever you are, so that you can prevent chronic disease and you can live a long, healthy life.
That really excites me as well. Thank you, Guru. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Oh, Grant, we're going to come to you now, and we're going to focus on the actionable starting points of everything that we're discussing today, okay? That is testing and personalized nutrition and what Viome sets you up with, obviously. So my first question is, why is testing an important first step in your health?
It is an important first step. It's crucial, really, right? Because like you just said, health is a journey, and testing really, it provides the compass, the direction with which you need to move along your health journey. So ultimately, you get to your final destination, which is a better place of health. Whatever that might look like for you. But without testing, you don't know what you don't know. You don't even know how to take that first step because you don't know where you stand now. So testing provides both your starting point, your destination, and without knowing where you are today, you can never be better tomorrow. Imagine you want to be a faster runner. You don't know how fast you're running now. You've never timed yourself. How can you ever set a goal to be faster? How could you ever build a program to be faster or track your improvements over time? If you're not testing, you don't know. So you want to test often. You want to make it a part of your hygiene, right? We think of hand washing and toothbrushing. Testing is hygiene. It's one of these habits that we use to maintain our health. We need to be checking in. You can't feel your blood cholesterol. You can't really feel your blood glucose. I mean, unless it's super high or super low, right? But you can't really sense your homocysteine level. So you got to be checking in, and really you can't be just testing once a year either, right? The body's dynamic; it's constantly changing and adapting. You need to be checking in frequently, sometimes daily, to keep yourself on a path of health. And with today's tools and technologies, Naveen spoke to a lot of these with sleep, and we've got CGMs these days for blood glucose. It's becoming easier and easier. So test, know where you stand today, and make a plan to where you want to be tomorrow.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Those healthy habits, hygiene is one of them. Testing is one of them. Awesome. So what does it take to harness the power of personalized nutrition to help support your unique biology, to slow, stop, or even eradicate aging with the right food supplements and biotics?
Yeah. Guru just spoke a lot about this. It really starts with getting to know your microbiome. Everything we consume interacts with our microbes before it even gets to us. So assessing your microbiome activity, knowing what it's good at, what it's not good at, then leveraging that information to make the best nutritional choices possible given your situation, it's key. But unfortunately, it's often overlooked. And then second, it starts with knowing your own biology. Naveen and Guru spoke to this. Uh, you got to know your cells, their environment. The environment we're constantly bathing our cells in every day. It determines their function and their response. And it's really fantastic. I think one drop of blood contains something like over 750 terabytes of data. That's huge, right? That's 1 milliliter of blood. And we're constantly bathing our cells in these fluids all day, every day. And the cells are using that constant stream of data to inform their activities. Using gene expression and epigenetic testing, we can assess what your cells are responding to and then manipulate that with personalized nutrition. So microbiome, epigenetics, knowing your own biology. The third, you need a dedicated team of experts, right, to interpret your data, connect it to food and supplement recommendations. Food is information, and you need folks with expertise in understanding the various components of foods and how they interact with both microbes and human cells and tissues. Now, nutritional science, it's been hyper focused on macronutrients, right? The proteins, fats, carbohydrates. They're important, right? But we've really missed the bus in terms of understanding the importance of various fibers, polyphenols. We've got these flavonoids, flavanols, steel beans, all these small molecules that are metabolized on the cellular level, on the microbial level, and they're sending important signals to our body. And this is complex biology, so you need both the teams, data science, systems biology, laboratory science, clinical nutrition, and the tools. Guru spoke about the tools, data analytics, machine learning in the lab, their sequencers, AI, to really interpret the data and come to meaningful conclusions and meaningful interventions. That's key.
Absolutely, I agree.
What's great is Viome provides all of this, right? It provides you your personalized food and supplement recommendations using all these technologies, using these tools, this expertise. And it's right there ready for you in an easy digestible format. It's in your phone. You can take it with you anywhere. It's truly remarkable what we've been able to accomplish in such a short amount of time, and it's available to you right now.
I agree. When I first started here at Viome, we had only one test, the gut intelligence test. I mean, it's been a short 5 years, and look at how exponentially our technology and our science has improved. And now we have the full body intelligence test with all 3 samples. That's awesome. So last question for you, Grant. How does Viome help people avoid diseases, avoid even getting them, right? Boost energy, maintain lifelong wellness. How do we help you do that?
Yeah, we're going to keep coming back to these 2 keywords, the microbiome and epigenetics, right? So we talked about the microbiome. I highlighted its importance in personalized nutrition, but I want to emphasize it again here because it's linked to chronic disease, right? The gut, the human gut, right, sits at the intersection of all of our body systems. It's really kind of the grand central station of the body. And for most of human history and science, we've considered the brain to be this master coordinator. In many cases, it still is, but we've vastly underestimated the role of the gut and its impact on whole body health. And sitting in the center of this complex network is your unique microbiome, which is helping to interpret the world around you and is sending signals to your gut and beyond. So Viome success, your success, it sits with the ability to assess the activity of the microbiome, and the impact it's having on you downstream. So no other commercial lab in the world can do this. Everyone else is stuck on measuring DNA, right? Assessing microbial composition, which has really stunted the progression of microbiome science. So Viome's ability to leverage the microbiome, its activity, both in the gut and the mouth, it has a tremendous downstream impact and is the key to the prevention of chronic disease and the maintenance of health. And all this has been supported by our clinical study.
Yeah. Thank you, Grant. Awesome.
Well, but I also mentioned epigenetics because understanding how your body is interpreting the world around it and responding, how your body's responding, it's key. So we've already spoke at length about biological age, right? This is an epigenetic feedback, how your body's responding to your lifestyle choices. But we also have biome scores, right? These are more multiple indicators from stool, blood, saliva, how your immune system is responding, epigenetics of your mitochondria, epithelial cells that line your blood vessels, score after score. We're getting these signals, we're assessing them and giving you that feedback to really help you fine tune. And this helps you understand what's happening both on the inside of the gut and the outside of the gut, and provides a comprehensive, you said holistic earlier, functional approach to the prevention of disease. And always remember, you don't want to be waiting for a diagnosis, right? You want to be able to detect and correct dysfunction way before disease ever manifests. And that's how Viome can help you develop and maintain lifelong wellness, right? Early detection of these signals, small manipulations through nutrition, small life hacks, if you will, keep you on that path for lifelong health.
Yeah, I do. I talk to people sometimes on the open house webinars. They're like, some of my scores aren't great, but I feel okay. It can take time for those actions to have consequences within your body, for sure. So you get tested, you line up your personalized nutrition, your biotics, all that stuff, and you make sure that,
Well,
go ahead.
Lisa, by the time you feel sick, you have been actually sick for almost 10 years, right? So by the time your doctor tells you have diabetes, you probably have been moving towards that for over 10 years, right? You get high fasting insulin. When that doesn't work, then you get high fasting glucose. Then you get HbA1c to be high. Parkinson's starts in the gut 15 years to 20 years before you get the first symptom. So if you're waiting for symptom to show up, I feel good because I don't have a disease, doesn't mean that your body is not constantly sending you the SOS signal. Please help me, I'm really dying here. And you say, I don't feel anything. And that's the thing, is your body is constantly sending you signal. We are just not used to listening to it. And what Viome does is really listening to that language of the cells. We are listening to the language of these microbes. And once we understand their language, we can translate it and say, look, this is what your body is telling you right now, that do this or else. And or else is when you have the diseases. So diseases are basically your body not being at ease, called dis-ease. Dis-ease is disease, right? So if you want your body not to be in dis-ease, you need to bring it back to homeostasis. Homeostasis is listening and creating the symbiotic relationship with your food, with your lifestyle, with your microbial activities, and your immune system. That is a homeostasis you want.
Yeah, you definitely want that. Absolutely. Before you start feeling it, for sure. So I'm wrapping things up now. So I wanted to make sure that I went around the room and had last thoughts from everybody. I want to start with Guru, and then we'll go to Grant, and then we'll end off with Naveen. Guru, any last thoughts for our class?
Yeah. Biological age is one of those new concepts that a lot of noise and a lot of articles and lots of things are going on in the general public, in the public domain right now. But I'd like everybody to give it a little bit of thought, right? People will tell you that they can tell you the age of your heart or your brain, or one of your like some of your DNA and so on and so forth, but that may not be very meaningful. So it may not be meaningful because it's only talking about one little piece of your biology. I would like everybody to get the full body understanding of what is going on in your biology, not just one small piece of your biology. So that's the reason I want to I want to encourage everyone to take a look at the Viome Full Body Intelligence product because it has 3 different samples. And because it has 3 different samples, it gives you the most complete picture that you can possibly get out of anything out there. And so that is going to give you the most complete view of your biological age as well. So that's my, takeaway from this presentation, that please understand what you're getting when somebody says biological age. And in the case of Viome, we can tell you both because of the science of technology we use, which is published, but also because conceptually we are aiming to get the full picture, top to bottom, of your entire biology.
Absolutely. Agreed. Thank you, Guru. Grant, any last thoughts?
Yeah, I guess I just want to pick up where Naveen left off with with diagnosing disease and really the good and the bad of medicine today, right? I can't tell you how many physicians I've spoken with that have an individual come into their office and their hands are tied, right? They don't necessarily have a diagnosis they can assign. They don't have any medications and they don't have the training in nutrition or lifestyle medicine to really provide the education, the tools that individual needs. So that's kind of the ugly side of medicine, and comes back to this idea of detecting dysfunction and keeping you on the right path. Modern medicine right now, as it stands, is really lacking in these tools, and Viome intends, and we are a leader in this area. But I would say, and the good side of medicine, how medicine can help you with your longevity, with this idea of aging. Is with screening exams, prevention, right? When my patients come in and they want to talk about aging, and they ask me what I think about it, it's like, well, you're really just talking about longevity, which is health span, right? It always has been. If you want to have a long lifespan, got to have a good health span. We got to remember our basics. You need to be engaged with your physician. You need to be proactive. The screening exams, Naveen has a lot of these in his book. I guess, you could do all the red cell light therapy you want in the world, but if you're not locked in with your cardiovascular health, you're not going to make it very far, right? So I always ask my patients to remember the basics. Early detection, prevention, it's key. Your medical provider should be equipped to help you navigate all the tools that are available to help you continue to age gracefully. Colonoscopies aren't as sexy as biological age tests, but they're no less important, right? Maybe even more so for some people. So just a humble reminder that you've got providers out there to help you along this journey, and you should be using their knowledge and their ability.
Absolutely. Thank you, Grant. And Naveen, before I give you the last word, I'm going to pop this up. Because as a thank you to everyone for joining us today, I want everybody to, if you would like to, I'm going to pop up another link to use the code HEALTH100, and that will give you $100 off of our full body intelligence test and a free Kindle edition copy of the Youth Formula by Naveen Jain. So you will get a free Kindle edition of Naveen's book with your full body intelligence, and that is for you today. You can click on that link and follow it to our website right now. And Naveen, please, last words.
Well, I think, as Guru and Grant mentioned, many companies look at one thing and they actually think from just one thing they can tell you everything. So some people look at your gut microbial organism, not even what their organisms are doing. And that's the fundamental problem is every microbiome company in the world other than Viome simply tells you you have this organism. You have Akkermansia, you have C. diff. It makes no difference what organisms you have because the same organism can actually do something good in one environment and something completely toxic in another environment. So when you're taking Akkermansia as a probiotic, just know Akkermansia is the #1 cause for MS. So if some people it may help and other people may actually will harm you. 84% of all of us have a P. gingivitis in our mouth. Only 16% of us will ever get gingivitis, which comes from ginger pain. So that means it's not the organisms what they're doing. And don't fall for people who say, based on your DNA, I can tell you what foods to eat. Imagine your DNA doesn't change from the time you're a baby to the time you're old. And hopefully all these things, your DNA is the same, but your diet must change. Other thing is people say, I eat with my blood type. Does your blood type change when you are 200 pounds, when you gain 200 pounds, does your blood type change? When you have diabetes, when you have depression, when you have heart disease, I think your diet should. And that's the fundamental problem, is that you can't simply take at one thing. So people take your saliva, give you a biological age test. Some people give you a blood drop and take your biological age test. And all these people are looking at one tiny thing and somehow making the extrapolation of what to do. That's the reason when I started Viome, we were fully convinced the only way to get it right is to look at everything, not one thing, not just one methylation here, one methylation there, or looking at some SNPs here or some SNPs there. We look at 30 million transcripts, 3 samples, saliva, stool, and blood, and we look at 30 million biomarkers before we tell you what is happening in your body. Not doing a blood test and getting the 150 biomarkers. No, we look at everything, and that is the key. The more we know, the better personalization you get. And that's all I can tell you, is that you can't improve something unless you measure it. And unless you measure it, you cannot actually get on the path of healthy journey. So start your journey knowing where you are. It doesn't matter how good or bad you are. Now is the time to start looking at where you are and moving forward towards a very healthy aging. And I'll see you back here in 100 years again, and hopefully we'll have the same conversation again.
Exactly. There you have it. There you have it. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time and your knowledge today. I really, really appreciate it. And I also want to thank everybody here on the broadcast today for joining us and spending the last hour with us. We hope you take some of this knowledge and run with it and live healthier and longer lives. Until next time, gentlemen, goodbye. And we will see you all very, very soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everybody. Bye-bye.